Hello and welcome to Pursuit of Perfect System's video coverage for the Bristol HiFi Show 2019. We would like to thank our show coverage sponsors, Cord Electronics and Tellurium Q Cables, for helping us make this show coverage possible. There are many more videos for this year and previous year's shows in our channel. Make sure to check them out, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and enjoy. Hello, welcome to Pursuit of Perfect Systems video coverage of the Bristol HiFi Show 2019. It's Friday, it's just before 10 o'clock. I'm in the REL Acoustics, well, one of the REL Acoustics rooms with Rob Hunt, who is, what's your job title?
UK Sales Manager.
UK Sales Manager, obviously for REL Acoustics. Now, I've just had a really interesting demonstration. Some of it's been on camera where Rob's been demonstrating music and the benefits of adding subwoofers over high level for music. And then he demonstrated the new REL Predator home theatre subwoofer, what that added to these DIN audio speakers, and then more interestingly what was added when he used two other subwoofers over high level to basically support the speakers. So we'll just quickly start at the beginning. Rob, will you tell us a little bit about the Predator subwoofer to start with, please, because that's what you should kind of
Absolutely. Well, Bristol showed the release officially for the Predator in the UK. Mm-hmm. So the Predator is the biggest of our home theatre range. The home theatre range was devised basically to take further what we already do on the REL subwoofers. So with the REL subwoofers, we separate out the LFE signal. With the home theatre series, we've now got a dedicated subwoofer to look after just that LFE, the low frequency effect channel. 3 subs in the range, the Predator being the biggest.
So tell us about the actual physicals of it. So it's a 15-inch driver, is that right?
15-inch carbon glass driver.
What makes that special?
It's basically trickle-down technology from our number 25 subwoofer,
okay,
which is the top of the range, astounding, very, very big subwoofer. And that was the first 15-inch driver that we actually brought to market. Trickle-down technology, long story short, we found all of the benefits of the lightweight construction of the carbon glass that we use. We can incorporate that with a very powerful amplifier to give us an amazing product that's not a massive footprint for a 15-inch driver. It's not that much bigger than a standard REL S5, for example. So lots of power, lots of pressure, lots of drive, fairly inexpensive. Sells in the UK for £1,599.
Really good price actually for that. The next thing that was a real surprise to me is the subwoofers in here are using a wireless connection. And we had a little chat about this, didn't we, before?
Yeah.
Excuse me, before I come on video. I was like, wireless, how can it work? It can't possibly work. But you had a really good explanation of why wireless is used throughout the world in the pro audio industry. So
absolutely, we forget this. Unfortunately, I think in our industry, we're quite a small industry, but we've always been given, if you like, the worst end of the stick, so to speak, when it comes to wireless technology. But for me now, it's a little bit more difficult. When I go out and do demonstrations at dealers, the first thing they reach for is a tablet or a phone to play their music. It's no longer a CD player. And yet when you talk about wireless, it's got this sort of backward compatibility issue, etc. But we forget, wireless nowadays, the technology is good, stable and there. And the thing that makes our wireless different is we transmit full range signal and it's completely lossless. It's a two-way talking system, it doesn't drop out, it doesn't give you any hassles whatsoever, but more importantly, which I struggle with still, admittedly, more importantly, it sounds better than our standard cables.
Well, I'll have to test that in the future and let you know, obviously, my faults. But what's amazing about that working as a technology is because where you want to put the subwoofer for best space in the room is normally the most awkward place to run a cable to. For example, you might want to have 2 subwoofers at the back of the room, or you might want to have 2 at the front and 2 at the back. But if the 2 at the back away from the kit, there's always the ones that are really difficult to get cable to. You have to run it up around the ceiling or something really awkward. But doing away with that problem allows you to put a subwoofer anywhere you want in the room. And to me, that's a huge benefit for getting better bass performance, especially across multiple seats and stuff, if that's what you're going for.
Well, you're exactly right, and we're at a stage now where we can offer wireless to give you at least some sort of wireless technology for every single one of our subwoofers. So you're no longer restricted to certain ranges to have wireless. And in fact, if you've got an older REL product that you want to make into wireless, you've now got the little air adapter which sells for £100, which means if you're running low level or LFE, you can turn your older sub into a wireless. So if it means that you want to upgrade your REL and use your older one, as you say, for the back, for example, you can put it into the system easily.
Quick question on that, do the REL wireless transmitters only work with REL subwoofers, or can you use them with other subwoofers?
You can use the air transmitter, which is the
Okay.
baby one that sells at £99. You can use that with any subwoofer. So any legacy REL, obviously, but any other subwoofer that runs just LFE, you can now make it wireless.
Okay, perfect. Right, let's talk a bit about the demonstrations that we've just done. What demonstrations you've done for me, sorry. So we started with music, didn't we? You played
Absolutely.
some Boris Blank to start with, and then you
Yeah.
played some kind of orchestra or something, was it? Like,
Yeah.
I can't think what it's called now.
Well, it's like chamber music.
That's,
I mean, realistically,
Yeah.
the whole point of when I was explaining to you earlier what we do at REL is we underpin where the speakers can't get to. Now that's pretty easy to show when it comes to bass, but people think that by adding a bass box or subwoofer, you just get extra bass, but you clearly don't. And that's the point of showing you this chamber music, because what we're actually doing is freeing up the speaker to be able to operate correctly or a lot more freely in its domestic environment. Environment. And if we think about this logically, if by adding a subwoofer doesn't make any difference, then we wouldn't hear any difference. But it's quite clear we hear a difference. But more importantly, we hear a difference in the mid-range and in the treble by adding a bass box.
Yeah. That was probably the biggest obvious difference is like clarity and focus to sound, which is really crazy. You wouldn't think adding a subwoofer would do that, but it really does. Not just that, lots of other things. And that is what led on to the home cinema demonstration, what you did after, wasn't it? Which was kind of the same thing. You introduced the home theatre effect channel. And then another kind of first for me really was using a subwoofer over high level to support full range speakers. That's kind of different to how I would set up a home cinema system, but I heard it worked really well.
It does work, you're absolutely right. And all it is, as we explained at the time, we can see and hear the benefit of what we can do by underpinning the left and right speakers. It makes perfect sense to take that into your AV system. Why wouldn't you? If you've got a really good home cinema, it's crazy not to get that extra benefit and then introduce the LFE as well, and it gives you a complete picture.
So basically what you're talking about there is using the high level wiring of the REL subwoofers, basically to add kind of the same extra layer, adding the same benefit that you would get for 2-channel music to potentially every channel in the home cinema system. That's what you're suggesting you can do, isn't it, really? So
yes.
What you demonstrated here was one subwoofer high level, the limited edition over there in the corner supporting the front two. Is that correct?
Right, yeah.
But then we've got another subwoofer down there, a smaller one, which you can't see on camera. That was actually adding the support for the centre channel. And it was interesting you put on, not sure what the movie was, U571?
U571.
I've never even seen it, but I just kind of guessed. But what was interesting in the vocal was just, the whole overall experience was much more like an experience with the subwoofers in. It was more like I was sitting in the middle of something as opposed to listening to an AV system.
Signal lamp off the starboard bow.
That was really interesting, but the vocal clarity and kind of expression in the acting and the voice was so much clearer within about a minute of watching. That's just 1 minute of one film without all the extra benefits you would get for every film, for everything. So it's really quite an interesting way of doing things.
Well, you get much more involved in the movie, and in fact last year at the show we were using the first scene of Mad Max 2 where the lizard comes out and he stamps on it and eats it. So when we played to the audience, the thing that we asked them is, what did you notice after we've done the demonstration with high level cutting? Most people said, I didn't realise it was a two-headed lizard. Because you're involved now in the movie, you get that extra feeling, so you're sort of drawn into it, and it's all a really important part of the experience, and you forget it.
Well, that's what we were talking about before. Personally, for me, bass is so important for not just for music, but for obviously everyone knows it's important for movies. But I don't think they realise just how important it is to underpin everything, and by underpinning everything, it gives you more of everything, doesn't it? Which is what you're demonstrating today.
Absolutely.
So, Rob, just quickly, might as well talk a bit about the limited edition subwoofer while we're here.
Absolutely.
So I'm really interested in that personally.
Okay, well, with the trickle down technology that we've already talked about in the Carbon Limited, in the Predator, we took the opportunity to introduce the Carbon Limited, which was a strictly limited product. It's based on an S5 SHO, but we're using carbon drivers throughout. So there's changes that you have to make. You can't just put in a carbon driver, you've got to make other changes. So it's a more powerful amplifier. The cabinet structure is very, very similar. We're using higher quality, much more rigid feet and decals. There's a reason for that, I won't bore you with it, but they're all triple chrome plated.
Okay,
gives them extra strength, sustainability in terms of sound quality, but immensely powerful. There was only 200 made, they're oversold. I can't even get one.
Fair enough.
Which is a bit of a shame, but they're completely oversold.
Well, I'll borrow that one.
Yeah.
That's got a passive radiator, isn't it, built at the bottom?
Absolutely,
yeah. Because you obviously can't see that, but obviously I'll check that one out. I thought, that's interesting.
So again, it's using a carbon passive radiator. Most of our subwoofers use, once they get beyond a certain size, they use passive radiators because we don't believe in ported subwoofers.
Okay.
And to give us the ability to run hard, loud and clear, we need that air to be able to move, so we use the passive radiators.
So it basically acts as like a sponge to soak up the excess energy off the back of the driver.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Rob, it's been a really interesting demo. Lovely talking to you. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you have a
Pleasure.
great show. There's a lot to get around and see, but I think you're going to have a lot of people really impressed with the demo today. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.